HAZCOM, or the Hazard Communication Standard, is crucial because it protects workers from illnesses and injuries caused by hazardous chemicals by ensuring they understand chemical risks and safe handling procedures through labels, safety data sheets, and training. Think of a chemical you've used at work or at home. What safety information did you need to know before using it? Are there hazards if they come in contact with your skin or eyes? Could it have a negative reaction with another material or compound? Can you just dump it down the sink, or do you have to discard it following specialized procedures? Thousands of chemical-related injuries occur each year due to poor labeling, lack of SDS use, or mishandling. The purpose of the Hazard Communication Standard is in place to ensure employers follow through on the requirement of the right to know and right to understand about the chemical hazards that employees may come in contact with in the workplace. The standard reference for HAZCOM requirements is 29 CFR 1910.1200 and is enforced by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA. Other HAZCOM references include OSHA Publication 3084, Hazard Communication, Small Entity Compliance Guide. OSHA Quick Cards, GHS Labeling and Safety Data Sheets. And the NIOSH Pocket Guide to Chemical Hazards. All employers with hazardous chemicals are covered and must comply with these standards. A hazard communication program includes a series of elements to ensure employees are sufficiently protected. The key components of the HAZCOM standard for workplaces containing hazards include a written hazard communication program, a chemical inventory list, container labeling requirements, safety data sheets, or SDS, and employee information and training. Employers must develop and maintain a written plan describing the chemical hazards in the workplace and how HAZCOM will be implemented at the facility. Some key administrative points that must be included in the plan are: where the plan is kept. The HAZCOM plan must be accessible by all employees. Defining how often it is reviewed and updated. And who is responsible for maintaining and enforcing the plan. Next, part of the written plan must include a chemical inventory list. The employer must maintain a complete list of hazardous chemicals contained within the workplace. The inventory must match the safety data sheets that are on file. And the list must be updated as chemicals are added in or removed from use within the facility. Another component that must be defined in the plan is the container labeling system. The employer must ensure all primary and secondary containers have labels that comply with the Global Harmonization System, or GHS, of classification and labeling of chemicals. GHS is a United Nations system for standardizing chemical hazard communication with consistent classification and labels. Classification defines and harmonizes criteria for physical, health, and environmental hazards of chemicals. Labels use standardized pictograms like skull and crossbones for toxicity or flame for flammability, signal words like danger or warning, hazard statements describing the risks, and precautionary statements advising on safe handling. There are 9 used pictograms, 8 of which are required by OSHA. They are: health hazards. Include carcinogen, mutagenicity, reproductive toxicity, respiratory sensitizer, target organ toxicity, and aspiration toxicity. Flame. For flammables, pyrophorics, self-heating, emits flammable gas, self-reactives, and organic peroxides. Exclamation mark. Includes irritant to skin and eyes, skin sensitizer, acute harmful toxicity, narcotic effects, respiratory tract irritant, and hazardous to ozone layer. Gas cylinder for gases under pressure. Corrosion, such as skin corrosion and burns, eye damage, and corrosive to metals. Exploding bomb, for explosives, self-reactives, and organic peroxides. Flame over circle represents oxidizers. Skull and crossbones for acute fatal or toxic toxicity. An environment for aquatic toxicity, which is not required by OSHA. Another label that is commonly used is the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA 704 label. The NFPA 704 was created with the goal of helping first responders in an emergency situation. Its sign format uses bright colors and a simple design, which make NFPA 704 signs both easy to spot and easy to read. However, it only provides very limited information. Because this standard is not regulated by law on its own, it is only mandatory where some legal authority chooses to require it. The diamond is designed as follows. The red diamond on the top is for flammability. The rating is between 0 and 4 and indicates the temperature at which a material will ignite. 0 will not burn under normal conditions, and 4 will readily vaporize and burns easily. The blue diamond on the left identifies a health hazard. The rating is between 0 and 4, ranking the severity of health hazards, from no hazard to extreme danger. The yellow diamond is to the right and identifies the stability and reactivity. The rating is between 0 and 4 and describes the material's potential to release energy or explode. 0 represents normally stable, and 4 means it can detonate readily. And the white diamond is at the bottom and is for special hazards. Special symbols are used to denote specific hazards, such as W for material that is water reactive, and OX for a material that is an oxidizer. Safety Data Sheets, or SDSs, is a document that provides detailed information about the hazards of a chemical product and guidance on its safe handling, storage, and disposal. These standardized documents are required by law under OSHA's Hazard Communication Standard to ensure that workers, employers, and emergency responders have the necessary information to work safely with chemicals. SDSs are provided by chemical manufacturers, importers, or distributors to downstream users and follow a consistent 16-section format to facilitate quick access to critical safety information. SDSs are the modern, standardized version of and replace the older Material Safety Data Sheets, or MSDS, and are now the universally recognized system for chemical safety information. They must be maintained and made accessible to employees in their work area during every shift. The purpose of an SDS is to provide chemical hazard communication. SDSs communicate the physical, health, and environmental hazards of a chemical product. Workplace safety. They provide crucial information for protecting workers from potential harm when handling, storing, or transporting hazardous materials. Emergency preparedness. SDSs offer guidance on first aid procedures, spill cleanup, and what to do in case of an emergency involving the chemical. And regulatory compliance. They are a key part of hazard communication regulations, ensuring that employers comply with safety standards. Employers are responsible for ensuring that workers can quickly and easily access the most up-to-date SDSs for all hazardous chemicals in the workplace. Safety data sheets follow a consistent 16-section format prescribed by the globally harmonized system of classification and labeling of chemicals to make information easy to find and understand. SDSs include comprehensive information as they detail the chemical's properties, contents, hazards, and safe usage instructions. The standardized 16 sections are: 1. Identification. Includes product identifier, common names, recommended uses, and supplier contact information. 2. Hazards identification. Describes hazards and provides appropriate hazard warnings and pictograms. 3. Composition and information on ingredients. Lists ingredients and their concentrations. 4. First aid measures. Details first aid for different routes of exposure. 5. Firefighting measures. Provides information on extinguishing media and firefighting procedures. 6. Accidental release measures. Outlines procedures for spills, leaks, and accidental releases. 7. Handling and storage. Gives precautions for safe handling and conditions for safe storage. 8. Exposure controls and personal protection equipment. Lists exposure limits and PPE recommendations. 9. Physical and chemical properties. Contains information on the substance's appearance, odor, pH, and melting point. 10. Stability and reactivity. Describes chemical stability and potential hazardous reactions. 11. Toxicological information. Presents data on health effects and potential toxicological information. 12. Ecological information. Information on potential environmental impact. 13. Disposal considerations. Provides guidance on proper disposal practices. 14. Transport information. Details information relevant for shipping and transporting the chemical. 15. Regulatory information. Lists safety, health, and environmental regulations. And 16. Other information. Includes the date of the latest revision of the SDS and other relevant information. Employee HAZCOM training teaches workers to recognize and handle hazardous substances by understanding chemical labels, safety data sheets, and workplace-specific hazards and safety procedures. The key components of HAZCOM training includes Workplace HAZCOM program. Employees are instructed on the facility-specific written HAZCOM program, including how to access and use the SDSs and information on chemical labeling. Hazardous chemical information. Employees learn about physical and health hazards associated with chemicals in the workplace. Labeling and SDS. Training covers interpreting GHS-compliant labels, including pictograms, signal words, and hazard statements, as well as understanding the 16-section SDS format. Detection methods. Workers learn how to detect the presence or release of a hazardous chemical, such as by reading monitoring devices. And protective measures. Training focuses on the measures employees can take to protect themselves, including the proper use of engineering controls, administrative controls, and personal protective equipment. So, what are the OSHA-required HAZCOM workforce training requirements? It is a tiered process. Employees must be trained. Before initial assignment, all employees must receive training when they are first assigned to a job that may expose them to hazardous chemicals. When new hazards are introduced, training is required whenever a new chemical hazard is introduced into their work area and they haven't been trained on it previously. And it must be an ongoing process, and refresher training is required. HAZCOM training is not a one-time event but an ongoing process that needs to be updated whenever new information or chemicals are present, annually at a minimum. Employees also have responsibilities as part of the organization's HAZCOM program. They include reading labels and SDS before handling chemicals, wearing the correct PPE, for example, gloves, goggles, and respirators, never removing or defacing labels, reporting missing and/or damaged labels immediately, storing chemicals only in designated containers and areas, not mixing chemicals unless instructed and trained, and reporting all spills, leaks, and exposures. HAZCOM is crucial because it protects workers from illnesses and injuries caused by hazardous chemicals by ensuring they understand chemical risks and safe handling procedures through labels, safety data sheets, and training. We hope you found this training valuable. Please click the subscribe button to access additional Food Sure training videos.